Hello and welcome to this week's movie review, where we'll be continuing our spooky season reviews. And this week we'll be talking about 2023's Evil Dead Rise. Okay, so before I get into the movie, I just wanted to give you guys my history with Evil Dead. I've seen the original, I've seen clips from Army of Darkness. I know about the character Ash. I know like a little bit about the history of him, Bruce Campbell, and that Sam Raimi, the director of the original movies, has, periodically always made Bruce Campbell do a little cameo in some of his movies. He did them in the Spider-Man films, the ones with Tobey Maguire, as well as Doctor Strange. Recently, I remember seeing the cameo by Bruce Campbell. But yeah, going back to my relationship with the movies, I've only really seen the first one. I've seen clips of the second one and clips of Army of Darkness. I didn't watch the 2013 remake. So in terms of the storyline, this is kind of like my, I want to say introduction to Evil Dead, because I have a history with it kind of, but my reintroduction to Evil Dead. And I actually enjoyed this movie. Cards on the Table, I just seen it literally like less than 30 minutes ago. I wasn't able to watch the movie over the weekend as I planned. No excuses. I just got caught up doing other things. So I ended up watching it today after work. And I'm reviewing the movie right after, which I don't really like doing because I would like to sit with the movie more and, kind of digest it. So to be honest with you, this is more of a reaction than a review, if anything. I'm still going to title a review just because I think reaction people think I'm be fucking showing clips and stuff like that. Not trying to get copyrighted, so I'll just keep it as a review. But yeah, second horror movie that I've seen in a while. I was trying to think of the ones that I saw before Talk to Me last week. And it had to be that shitty Michael Myers movie that came out last year or the other year. Halloween Ends, I believe. Or Halloween... Something to do with Halloween. I did not enjoy the sequel to the original remake. The sequel to the remake that came out in 2018, I think. I didn't enjoy that one, Halloween Kills. And I definitely did not enjoy Halloween Ends. I thought both of those were just trash. So I was trying to think over the weekend, which ones that I had seen in terms of horror movies, and those would be it. As far as Evil Dead Rises, though, this thing was a trip. I mean, very gory, very bloody, which I know the originals were known for that. Love some of the shots. And it really did make me want to go back and rewatch some of the old movies. So the film stars Lily Sullivan as Beth, our kind of title character, as well as Alyssa Sutherland, who stars as Ellie, the mother of the children. And you can kind of tell by the poster, it says, "Mommy loves you to death." So don't want to tell you what happens to Ellie, but I mean, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I also want to mention, and this is kind of a minor spoiler, but this happens literally within the first 5 minutes. I don't know if you guys remember how last week I mentioned how there's always a dick in horror movies. Well, this one is named Caleb, and he's there for a very short time, but immediately I was like, get him off the screen. Guy's annoying. Which again, that's his job, but it's just funny how there's these certain tropes that keep recurring in these horror movies as I dive back into them. Okay, so I'm going to read a brief plot synopsis. Evil Dead Rise. A twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. But yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward story. I'd also say a straightforward horror movie as far as I could tell, you know what I mean? In terms of demonic possessions, I will say this, I do like that this movie did not take place in like a cabin in the woods kind of thing. I know the first one, it had to do with something in the woods. I know there's a famous tree scene. The second one, like I said, I can't remember that one as well. And the third one, there's some like, I know it's more of a comedy thing with the Army of Darkness. And I think Evil Dead 2013 also had something to do with the woods. So I'm glad that they diverged, somewhat differently from the previous movies. It takes place in the city in this apartment building, which, as I'm getting older, I always wonder, like, how much does this cost? How are they affording all this? You know what I'm saying? Very nitpicky thing to do, but I'm always like curious as like how that functions just as an adult, trying to figure it out myself, trying to be like, I wonder how much they pay for rent. You know what I'm saying? It seems like they had a lot of space in that apartment. But yeah, pretty straightforward horror movie. I thought that the brutality kind of stood out in this one, which they always do in Evil Dead. They're very, very brutal and very bloody. the old ones were. So I could only, going into this one, I kind of had a feeling that it was going to be, just as graphic, if not more. I'm curious to see how much practical effects were used in this movie. I know back then Sam Raimi was known to be, a proponent of practical, using practical effects, as well as a mix between that and CGI in the Spider-Man movies. And I know he didn't direct this movie, but I'm curious. I saw him as a producer, so I'm curious how much of it was, CGI. I'm sure some of the scenes were CGI, but as far as the blood or violence, how much of that was practical versus computer generated. A lot of homages in the movie to The Shining. I could point out a certain scene in the elevator, as well as there's a scene between two characters, one's on one side of a door and the other one is on the other side of a door. Caught that one as well. Very, very nice homage to The Shining. And I gotta say, this movie felt almost like a bottle episode, a bottle movie, if anything, where two characters are in the same building or in the same area throughout the whole movie, throughout the whole episode, or whatever you're watching. It's the definition of a bottle episode / bottle movie. And yeah, I was looking at the cast earlier on IMDb, and it was a very short cast. It's only about 10, 11 people in the whole cast. And as far as locations, there's really 3 that I could think of, big pieces that I could think of, like where they film things. I'm going to look up the budget real quick, see how much it was. Damn. So the budget was 15 to 19 million. And it grossed 146.7 million. So it definitely was very successful. Goddamn. Which is awesome. I always love when movies, I know Blumhouse was like really famous for doing that. They'll have a movie on a shoestring budget, or very couple $1 million budget, and then generate a lot of money, through its marketing, through its commercials, through everything. I do want to give major props to the actresses who played Beth and Ellie, the 2 sisters in the movie. I thought they did a phenomenal job. Ellie especially, when she's kind of like being possessed. Again, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Something happens to her character. I don't want to explain exactly what happens to her, but she gets changed for sure. And I thought her performance, similar to last week with Talk to Me, the people who play these characters who get possessed or get taken by demons or taken by spirits, if you will, I think this has been knocking out of the park. Compared to last week, this week, I thought they were on par for sure. The actress who plays Ellie definitely, again, went full force in it. There's scenes where she's singing. There's scenes where she's a lot of body stuff as well. A lot of physical, almost exorcist type, moves that she does that, I'm sure those are either CGI or stunt double, but man, she really went for it and fully embraced being this character. And honestly, this is a side tangent, I totally thought she was Jean Grey from the original X-Men movies. She's not. She was on Vikings, I believe, but yeah, I don't know. During the movie, me and my brother me and my brother were watching it earlier, and we're just like, damn, is that Jean Grey from X-Men? I'm trying to think more things to say about the movie. I don't want to give too much away, because I think people should definitely check it out, especially because we're right in the middle of the time to watch all these kind of movies. I'd say pros would be the directing. The acting was on point for sure. The only negative I could think of, which, in the full context of the series that I'm watching, Evil Dead, was maybe some of the dialogue. I thought some of the dialogue was kind of hit or miss for me. Certain lines that the characters would say to each other, or certain digs that they will have each other, whether it be the possessed person or whoever it was, which I believe is a thing in the older movies. I believe they had those kind of wild one-liners. I believe that's a thing. So I don't want to, I don't want to talk down on it too much, because I think they did do that in the older movies. I just thought certain lines just came across as fucking cheesy and hokey, or just ridiculous. I'm like, why are you saying this right now? It's just the words, the sentence that you formed just sounds very outrageous for the sake of being outrageous, which again, I think that's a theme in the older movies, so I don't want to crap on them too hard there. Every time I look up movies on IMDb, I always see scenes that are intense or frightening, and this definitely has some. I don't know if I would say I was scared. I was definitely grossed out, if anything, or I definitely said damn, you know what I mean? And there was definitely a time where I was talking to the screen and telling certain characters to do certain things, which I think is always a mark for a good horror movie. But yeah, that would do it for this week's review. I had a feeling it was gonna be a shorter review just because the movie wasn't that long. It was an hour and 30. Um, and like I said, for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward horror movie. You know what I mean? I can't say it did things super different compared to other ones. Even as far as like the franchise goes, you know what I mean? I think it was pretty on the money in terms of like what I expect from an Evil Dead movie. And I gotta say, man, watching these movies with no trailer, no context or anything, has definitely been a plus. I'm actually going to see the new Scorsese movie starring De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, Killers of a Flower Moon. So I'm debating if I should review that next or maybe have 2 reviews next week and maybe review that one as well as another horror movie. If you're watching this, go ahead and comment down below what I should review next. I'm debating on whether I should just hit up the theater, see Exorcist, or maybe the new Jigsaw movie. Both I heard were, So I wouldn't be against either one. The Exorcist, the original one, actually did legitimately scare me as a child. So watching the new one, I'll be always down to see that. I don't know if there's any connections to the OG one, but I'm down to check that out. And Jigsaw, I've always loved. I always liked the Saw movies. They kind of lost me after 3. After the 3rd movie, I was kind of like, all right, I think 1, 2, 3 is like, I think the Saw 1 through 3 are pretty solid. And after that, it just kind of gets, more and more ridiculous. But I wouldn't be against checking this out. Let me know down below. As far as videos dropping this week, the West Side Gun and Then You Pray For Me review will be done and up on Thursday. I'm actually listening to the album. I was listening to that at work earlier today, so I'm gonna keep giving it more listens, doing things differently on speakers, on headphones, reading the lyrics. So that'll be out Thursday, as well as a new podcast on Friday. And yeah, that'll do it for this week's review. Thank you so much for watching this. Please like, comment, share, the usual business. Subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much, and until next time, peace.